For a number of years, I've been working on collective animal populations such as herd of sheep, fish, and Vincent is an expert on monkeys. He studied a colony of macaques in Puerto Rico, but he has been doing a very qualitative type of study on their behavior, and we wanted to see if through computational math we can have a better understanding on how they organize, what is their leadership understanding, and how they respond to climatic events. Every year there is a hurricane that goes through this island, and we want to understand how the monkeys react to this. I work in an area that is called interacting particle systems or multi-agent systems. That is a very wide mathematical framework which you can use to understand, for instance, humans for crowd motion behavior. These models, they are widely used in human crowd motion to understand opinions, how political opinions might evolve in a society, or how cells or bacteria may aggregate under microscope. And we want to bring this sort of maths on board to understand animal behavior. We didn't have data of the motion or the behavior of the monkeys on site in Puerto Rico. So instead, what we did in our project was to go to Longleat, to the zoo park here in nearby Bristol, and with drones to get a footage of a colony of 200 macaques of the same kind who live there. And we would get footage on how they would react when they were being fed. So people might wonder, okay, what's the relation between food and a hurricane? Well, the relation comes through system theory. It goes through a mathematical abstraction. You think both as food and hurricanes as external stimulus to the system. So the monkeys are not going to behave the same way in front of a hurricane or in front of food, but you may infer some basic scales of their behavior by understanding how they react in front of an external stimulus of any kind. We don't only study that. So, for example, I have other data sets for sheep herding. So I have some colleagues in Swansea that they study through GPS. They take sheep, they put GPS in each one of them, and then they study how the shepherd dog reacts to them. So they get actual footage of trajectories. And again, it's the same idea of a population responding to an external stimulus, in this case, a shepherd dog. So we aggregate all these data sets, and from that we put some math and try to infer what are the behavioral rules behind these actions. Through our mathematical models and our simulations, we obtain, say, coherent simulations with the fact that there is a hierarchy within, say, a population of 2,000 monkeys. There are some leaders. These leaders are older, and through they have seen more hurricane seasons, they are better at making forecasts on what is the most likely direction that the hurricane will follow. And based on that, they will be more responsive and they will take better strategies. They will have better anticipation capabilities, and then the rest will follow. And because of this leadership, they will somehow be saved. So our conclusion is that this kind of leadership in terms of better anticipation strategies somehow permeates into the rest of the society, and that would explain why the monkeys somehow are consistently saved every year and they do not die when the hurricane passes through where they live. People in behavioral ecology are very interested in incorporating robotic agents to these populations. So they would like to incorporate, for instance, a robotic monkey that they can control, but somehow will mimic the behavior of the animals. So the animals will recognize them as peers, and they can be influenced without knowing that they are being influenced. And so it's an undercover agent. So there's a very concrete area of research that people in behavioral ecology are nowadays interested, and these sort of mathematical tools are really the ones that enable the fact that you can code this into a robot and the robot somehow will behave in a coherent way. Another line of research is the fact that through this, we can also infer, especially for humans, how we react under panic situations, extreme either climatic events, or you can think about people needing to evacuate a stadium or a tube station, and we can improve the design of the buildings, for instance, so that there is no congestion. And in the long term, we really would like to understand more sophisticated behavior in terms of evolution, anticipation, rationality in decisions. First of all, I didn't I didn't know about Vincent before TKT. So really, TKT somehow pushed me outside of my comfort zone and go and look our staff directory of colleagues in life sciences and understand a little bit on what do they work. And also Vincent himself, he works in something that is somehow very far away from what I do. So it really somehow this pushes us to have an honest conversation to understand where there was some common ground and to put some effort to find some common ground.